fans, the Pro Wrestling Report is back here tonight with a huge Survivor Series edition. We bring you all the latest from WWE, TNA, and even Ring of Honor. And the question that really needs to be asked, though, is will this be David Hero's last edition of the Pro Wrestling Report? We've got a final preview of Blizzard Brawl 11 coming in just a couple of weeks, and be the booker for tomorrow's Survivor Series. So much more as well. So sit back, relax, and get ready for a full hour of the longest running wrestling talk show in the world right now, right here on My 24 Milwaukee.
This is the Pro Wrestling Report, PrimeTime TV, the longest running pro wrestling news program in the world, with your hosts, David Hero and Damian Nelson.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Pro Wrestling Report, primetime Saturday night, right here on My 24 Milwaukee for Saturday, November 21st, 2015. Damian Nelson sitting here alongside David Octavius and Tiberius the Alleged Backyard, one-time knockout, goat-face, straight-edge, hardcore, Hall of Famer Hero. How are you there, David?
You know, I am going to be hardcore. In 2 weeks from tonight, I'm going to be extremely hardcore.
What's her name?
It's Janice and Abyss are coming to Waukesha for Blizzard Brawl. I don't know if I'll have the hardcore beard that you got going right now.
You speak of this as if it's something you're looking forward to.
Well,
the big match with the monster Abyss at Blizzard Brawl.
It's coming. I can't hide from it.
You've tried.
So I'm trying to mentally and physically prepare myself for a fight.
Well, we'll talk a lot more about that later on. Loaded show here tonight, ladies and gentlemen, and let's kick it off with this week's WWE report. And the result of our first story, I hope, is not similar to your fate coming out of Blizzard Brawl, because a big injury for the WWE World Heavyweight Champion Seth Rollins just a couple of weeks ago. He tore his ACL, he tore his MCL, and also, I believe he injured his meniscus.
Yes.
So he couldn't have messed more up in his knee than he did. Rollins going to be out for 6 to 9 months as a result of this injury. And yes, folks, that does take us past WrestleMania. A bad situation, of course, for not only Seth Rollins, but for WWE. And as a result, you do see that we tomorrow night will have a WWE World Heavyweight Championship tournament to determine who gets the vacated championship title. Bad break for Seth.
It's a bad break for the WWE more than just Seth Rollins, because not only do you have John Cena missing, you have Randy
More on
Orton.
that in a minute.
We have Randy Orton missing.
More on that
now
in a minute.
You have the current world champion Seth Rollins missing. Now it's up for grabs for anybody. And with the tournament tomorrow night, which I consider to be an underdog tournament, there isn't a true favorite.
Really?
Absolutely.
Is that because Kalisto is out?
Calypso?
No, that's a different.
Oh no! I mean, he was never. Come on, seriously, he was never even.
He made it to the semis or the
Yeah,
quarters.
of course. Well, a lot of people make it to semis, but you know, it's the 4 guys they have in the finals are all 4 have put their work in and deserve to be there.
Ambrose, Del Rio, Reigns,
And
and
Owens.
Kevin Owens.
Kevin Owens deserves it after, you know, the whole John Cena thing over the summer.
What do you mean?
Well,
John Cena losing to him twice? He deserves what?
No, just he's being rebuilt, and now he's in.
He's the Intercontinental Champion.
Yes,
Cody
he is.
once held that belt.
Yes, he did.
He doesn't need much else.
True story.
What happens, though, in 6 to 9 months when Seth Rollins comes back from injury, David Hero? How does he reset? How does he start over? How does he get back into the mix, which will have been changed dramatically by that time, no matter what?
He comes back as an automatic babyface. The crowd
Fans
will pop huge when he comes back because they will have missed him.
Do they know they're going to miss him right now?
No, they don't know that yet. They don't know how much they're going to miss him right now.
Is it Triple H 2001?
Yes.
Quads,
Yes.
came back Madison Square Garden. He was a heel when he left, a pretty dastardly one, by the way. Came back to one of the hugest pops
But the
ever.
thing is when guys like Triple H and Seth Rollins leave, you just realize how good that they are when they come back.
Mm-hmm.
Because that big void has been there for so long, and they know exactly how to reinsert themselves into a main program and get crowd emotion.
Is it the term, you don't know what you have until you ain't got it no more?
Yeah.
Is that how it goes?
I think there was a
Dance
song
with
that
Who
was
Brung Ya?
differently. Yeah.
There was a song about it?
Yeah.
Like to hear it?
Sure.
Here it
ahead.
go.
Here it go.
I don't remember, actually. But definitely, Seth Rollins, the question, will you realize
he's only missing,
that you miss him?
I mean, if he was a mid-card guy, he wouldn't be missed as much. But he is the current reigning WWE World Champion who has beaten Randy Orton, Dean Ambrose, Sting, Brock Lesnar, John Cena. He's beaten all the top guys they put in front of him. So they've invested a lot of TV time and TV money into this guy.
Isn't there a lot of risk, though?
Of course.
Now that he'll be absent for months.
The same thing happened with Daniel Bryan. They
Well,
invested
let's
so
not
much
compare
into
those
him.
two.
Well, you can. You can.
Daniel Bryan probably will never wrestle for WWE
Both
again.
of the fans got it. The fans got exactly what they wanted with Daniel Bryan and with Seth Rollins.
You keep saying that. The fans were behind Ambrose. They did not care about Rollins. Rollins was organically grown. Everybody thought Ambrose was the guy. Ambrose was the guy. Ambrose was no. Yes.
Yes.
But the fans were much more vocal and adamant about Daniel Bryan than they were Seth Rollins.
But they were
Seth Rollins just happened.
They were ecstatic when Rollins cashed in at
Because they were
WrestleMania.
against Reigns. They weren't for Rollins. They were against Reigns.
Why do you got to argue, man?
I'm not arguing.
You know what?
I'm a fact-based reporter.
This
I'm
could
sharing the
very well
facts
be
with
the
you.
last show you and I ever do here together.
Then I would have hoped that you would have embraced the truth and embraced the facts as they are.
The truth was on Raw Monday night.
Our truth versus Tyler Breeze.
Yeah.
I fast-forwarded.
Why?
I had no time. I did watch Dean Ambrose's match on
Did
Monday,
you?
though, and I generally can't stand
It was a
watching
good
him
match, him and Ziggler.
wrestle.
You know, but Tyler Breeze. Let's talk about him for a second.
Why?
I don't get it.
Really?
I don't get it.
He's been in NXT for a number of years. He's been using that same gimmick, if you will,
No,
for
that's
a number of
fine.
years.
I get the gimmick, but what's happening with these NXT guys?
These NXT guys?
Yeah, is when they come up with all this big fanfare from NXT, with the exception of Kevin Owens, it hasn't translated well on television. When the Ascension came up, fell flat. Tyler Breeze.
Well, because everybody but them realized that was LOD 3000.
Let's face it. I mean, Cal, at 13 years old, I think is built bigger than Tyler Breeze.
Oh, there you go. Back to size again.
Yeah.
Doesn't it matter how loud the dog barks sometimes?
But I don't believe Tyler Breeze could beat anybody.
Did you believe Daniel Bryan could beat anybody?
Yeah, eventually. Yeah,
Eventually. There's no eventually with Tyler Breeze who's been on TV for 4 weeks.
I just don't see it. Come on. You don't see it. Do you see it?
I don't look at it.
You fast forward through Tyler Breeze.
Yes, I did.
Okay.
I didn't fast forward though through the matchup between Roman Reigns and Cesaro this past Monday night. A lot of backlash on the interwebs about that match and how dare WWE bury Cesaro again.
It wasn't buried at all. It was a competitive fight. Both guys got all their stuff in. Cesaro went toe-to-toe with Roman Reigns. I mean, come on.
They did a good job of Triple H trying to manipulate, I guess, all the participants in the tournament matches that night about how they could be the guy, they could be the next Seth Rollins, and Cesaro being one of those guys. Look, Cesaro is an amazing talent, and some people may not be realizing it, but Roman Reigns is an amazing overall talent as well. Who's a better wrestler? No doubt Cesaro in that particular contest.
And we've had this conversation how many times? The greatest
78?
money draws in the history of professional wrestling were not the best wrestlers. They were the best workers. Hulk Hogan, Ultimate Warrior, The Rock.
I'm aware.
You know what I mean? Those are the guys that drew all the money. And let's talk about Cesaro. I go on Twitter once in a while.
Occasionally.
Okay? Monday nights is kind of my deal. And everyone's saying, Cesaro should be world champ. You can't. He can't be the world champ. Why? No one's buying his merch. And everyone says, it's always the merch argument.
He's got a section of the arena.
But here, you know what it is? This is what it is. These are fans at home, and they do this, and they write Cesaro section.
They're printed.
Okay, on a piece of paper that cost them 2 cents, and they do this. That is not an investment into Cesaro.
At least 2 cents.
Buy his T-shirts. Show the people.
He's got great T-shirts, by the way.
Even if the T-shirts aren't that good, you still buy them to show support, to show the office that, hey, this is somebody we want to get behind. When the office starts seeing his merchandise sales going up, he will get a better run. You put Cesaro on Jimmy Kimmel, okay, or who's the other joker, the other late night guy? Jimmy Fallon?
Oh, Jimmy's.
Okay.
Jimmy!
And you got to figure
Jimmy holds a grudge.
Who's going to be a better interview? Who's going to be a better presentation? Cesaro or Roman Reigns? Cesaro walks out, golf claps. Reigns walks out, the women in the audience are going to be screaming. That's where the money is. That's where the heat is.
Well, speaking of heat, an interestingly controversial ending to WWE Raw this past Monday night featuring divas Charlotte and Paige. We're going to talk about that along with John Cena's new project when we come back here on the Pro Wrestling Report Primetime.
Did WWE go too far with Paige and Charlotte on Monday? We discuss in detail. Also, this month's DWHS Hot News and Be the Booker for tomorrow's Survivor Series. Primetime returns in just a few moments, right here on My 24 Milwaukee.
GLCW Blizzard Brawl invades the Waukesha County Expo Center on Saturday, December 5th. See the biggest stars in pro wrestling live and in person. El Snow defends the GLCW Championship, and David Hero takes on TNA star Abyss in a Monsters Ball match. Also appearing live are WWE Hall of Famer Booker T and the ninth wonder of the world, China. Blizzard Brawl 11, live at the Waukesha Expo Center on December 5th. Tickets are available now, starting at only $10 each at BlizzardBrawl.com.
Atlanta, the WWE Survivor Series is coming to Phillips Arena on November 22nd, and PWR is having a pre-show party with WWE Hall of Famer Mean Gene Okerlund. Join us for a free meet and greet with Mean Gene. Great food, fun, and drinks will be served. Also, be part of the premiere episode of the live Mean Gene Hotline podcast coming to the PWR network. Mean Gene Okerlund and the WWE Survivor Series invades Atlanta on November 22nd. Who will survive?
If you've been hurt in a car wreck, the insurance company may try to stop you from getting what's fair.
After my car wreck, the insurance company just wasn't helping me, so I said stop, and I called Gruber Law Offices.
Be careful. Call us right away.
They better be careful. Now I've got Gruber Law Offices.
Call us. Let us get started on your case right now.
They put the green light on my case and got me $65,000.
Gruber Law Offices. One call, that's all. Call 276-6666.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Pro Wrestling Report Primetime Saturday night. Damian Nelson sitting alongside David Hero. And where's Linda this week? Amanda's back. She's on her way. She's shipping off to Boston, I hear.
Boston?
Yeah.
I thought she was going out west.
That's not west?
No.
What if you go the long way?
There's a club in Boston and Vegas, but I don't think she's going to Boston.
Club in Boston and Vegas. Club named Boston and
Yeah.
Vegas. Have you been there?
Of course I
Is that J. Lo's place?
Yes. It's tremendous.
Well, folks, let's continue the conversation here on an epic edition of the Pro Wrestling Report Primetime. We're talking WWE, David Hero. And before we went to break, we talked a little bit about the end of Raw this past Monday night. And it was that segment between Charlotte and Paige. First, maybe we should explain to the masses why Raw was built in that way. We saw the main event matchup earlier on in the evening, and then the go-home show to Survivor Series ended with this Divas promo, which wasn't bad, but a bit unusual.
It's uncomfortable. It wasn't bad, it was uncomfortable. And I'll be honest, I don't like that kind of stuff.
Well, first, why did it happen at the end of the show? I don't believe the show was written for that to happen at the end of the show.
Well, then why do you think it was? I have no clue.
Do you remember when the Roman Reigns and Cesaro match occurred?
Yes.
During halftime of the Monday Night Football game.
Oh, gotcha. I mean, I don't understand why they need to bring real-life drama into pro wrestling. I mean...
What?
Yeah.
The best wrestling stories are built off of real-life drama.
Not like this. Not when you bring in the fact that Reed Flair died of a drug overdose.
That was the brother Charlotte was referencing.
Yes. And that
is... 1 year ago, if not
It was
shorter.
2 years ago.
Was it that long?
It was 2013. And I get it. They need to have heat in some of these Divas matches because right now there's no heat in anything. And there has to be something that they're fighting for besides the championship. And they want that raw emotion and you know.
Well, let me ask you this.
Yeah.
What's the difference between this and using Paul Bearer's death some couple weeks after it happened? Because they did that.
I don't like that either. But I mean.
But what's the difference?
Well, the difference is this, is that Paul Bearer died of natural causes, okay? Reed Flair died of a drug overdose. Mm-hmm. And I don't think the family needs that reminder.
No matter what, they're both passed on.
And first of all, here's the other thing. Paul Bearer's family signed off on that.
Yes, they did.
Ric Flair didn't know about it at all until after it happened.
And well, Charlotte could have said no, perhaps.
Does
she have that option?
She's not going to say no. She's not in that spot to say no.
What is the proper way to go about producing these type segments? Who should be talked to, consulted, and what should be decided on before it happens?
I think the family needs to be talked to and say, hey, we would like to go in this direction. What are your thoughts? And even if the family disagrees, at least they know about it. At least they know what's coming. And, do you think they didn't know? Do you think they didn't? Charlotte maybe didn't even give them a little hint? Because if they didn't know, that is criminal. If you sat home and watched this and heard this without any prior knowledge it was going to happen, that is criminal. Mm-hmm. I would have ventured to say that somehow or another they had a tip-off. You know it hurt Charlotte because she was tearing up before the promo started, knowing what she was going to be talking about.
So you're saying they should not have done this?
No, not at all. No.
You're saying you would not have done this?
Absolutely not. You know why? Because right now, with the temperature of this country, people are on pins and needles, and everything has been doom and gloom lately. Okay? The last thing people want to do when they're watching one of their favorite shows is to be reminded of drug addiction and how it kills people and takes lives.
I don't think they took it that far. The average viewer, I don't think the average viewer took it that far. The average viewer said, wow, that's cold. She's talking about her dead brother. I think fewer people know the details, especially since it was 2 years ago, it's an eternity, than we may think.
I'm just saying for me, and I get it, it's about creating heat and emotion and wants and needs and desires and the whole thing, and you want to see these girls fight for something because they don't have it. They're not just fighting for the championship because that gets boring after a while. But I don't know. I'm not a big fan of it.
Well, we talked last time we were with you about John Cena taking some time away from WWE, and the rumor was he had a new television show coming out. And folks, indeed, that is true. In a press release issued earlier this week, John Cena indeed will be hosting a brand new reality show on the Fox television network. That show will be a military-based competition titled American Grit. There'll be 16 contestants vying for a $1 million prize. And David, this is the most important piece, I think. It's produced by the same company that produced Pawn Stars.
Huh? Who knew?
You know, in Detroit, that pawn shop.
Yes.
With Seth and
Seth Gold and his dad, Len.
Les.
Yeah, Les. Huh. I can only imagine how that's going to turn out.
You're going to be tuning into Cena's new show on Fox? You have to, right?
No, I don't have to.
It's a pretty big deal for both WWE and Fox. John Cena's a national superstar, international superstar.
I have a hard enough time watching Arrow and Flash and Supergirl and Impractical Jokers every week.
What do you think of Supergirl?
Not a big fan yet. She's cute and all.
Was that Iron Man on a couple of weeks ago?
No.
He had a thing on his chest.
No.
The light?
No.
That was Iron Man.
Stop that. That's Marvel.
Is Superman not Marvel?
He's DC, baby.
Oh, so they stole it. Anyway, so you're not going to watch John Cena's reality show?
You know what? I might, but it's not going to be Destination TV for me.
Destination America?
I'll never watch them.
That's again. A great segue, ladies and gentlemen. TNA. It's time to talk TNA. TNA big announcement this week, just yesterday actually.
Yes.
2 days ago rather.
Thursday.
They have a new channel. They have a new night. They have a new time.
Huge pop.
And they're going to be all the way live on January 5th. That is their debut on the Pop television network, Pop TV, a network that launched earlier this year, I believe, and is, didn't launch, it was rebranded from what was formerly known as the TV Guide channel.
I will give TNA and Dixie credit. They do find a way to make the most obscure TV channels relevant. I had no idea Destination America even existed, and when I heard it was Pop TV, I thought it was like a brand of Hulu or something, like some internet TV provider. Why do you look like that? Why do you scroll?
No, I'm just letting you go.
No, I'm serious.
Here's what I'm thinking about. Your big match with Abyss, as we talk about TNA coming up in 2 weeks. I may be forced with the challenge of finding your replacement here on this program.
Well, first of all, I'm irreplaceable. There's nobody else out there.
I've been talking to people in a theoretical sense
that can do what I do for the show.
I've been talking to people in a theoretical sense, and unfortunately, several of them have not been available. I talked to Whoopi Goldberg. She's free. She likes wrestling. You didn't know this?
No, well,
She
sure.
said she couldn't move to Milwaukee because of some contractual obligations she had. I talked to Regis Philbin.
Oh, I can see Regis
He, too,
could
is
fill my
busy.
shoes.
He too is busy. I actually got a call.
You know what? What's amazing is you are actually planning that I won't be here next month.
I have to plan just in case. I don't want it to happen, but I have to plan for it just in case. David Letterman called me.
Yes,
And he said he wanted to get back on TV, and the once a month schedule worked great for him, or would work great for him.
You are just a something with ears right now. You know that?
Of course, I hope I have ears. I'm listening to you, aren't I?
Yeah.
How else would I hear you? Anyways, it is good news.
You realize I'm in this position because of you. You do realize this, right?
I realize that you feel and think and believe in your heart that you're in this position because of me, but I think only one person can be blamed for this, and I do believe his name is David Lewis Hero.
Thanks, buddy.
You
know what? Last time I defend your honor.
TNA World Title Series continues on
Yes.
Destination America. As you said, you won't be watching that anymore. Well, last show for TNA on Destination America will be in December, and Destination America will have rid themselves of wrestling at that point because Ring of Honor's last show is coming up in just a couple of weeks on that same
How weird
network.
is that? It's like they just rented Ring of Honor for 6 months.
Well, they did have a however many episode deal, and that deal is expiring. And I wonder, was it the email heard around the world that caused? It's almost like people laugh about CBS back in the 60s or 70s when they canceled every show with a tree in it. You know, they had Green Acres and the Beverly Hillbillies and all this other stuff. Did that email that we've talked about cause Destination America to say, and we're not dealing with these people anymore, these carnies, if you will?
Could be. And I'm sure they weren't getting the numbers they were hoping they would get from Ring of Honor.
Get about 300,000 viewers a week from both shows. If you multiply that times replays or whatnot, they were doing better than I think a lot of their programming was doing. But here's the secret about professional wrestling programming, and we might know a little bit about it, having done it for the last 20 years. Advertisers are difficult to come by because of the perception of wrestling
because
fans.
a lot of the advertisers today still remember Sable with their handprints in the middle of the ring, you know,
and Jerry Lawler's reaction,
and just all the innuendo.
Fully loaded 99.
Yeah, and all the innuendo is what the people that grew up watching then are now the suits today, and that's what they remember.
Very true. Well, coming up on this upcoming Friday, David Hero, we've got another edition of Feedback Friday. We're going to talk more about this big announcement from TNA and talk about what it means to the future of that company. That Feedback Friday, available on our website, pwrshow.com, and on our YouTube channel. That being said, let's take it back on over to Amanda to find out what else we got for you here tonight.
Coming up next on PWR Primetime. Hot news from the wrestling business and be the booker for tomorrow's WWE Survivor Series. Primetime returns in just a few moments.
Watched on YouTube over 14 million times. Listened online over 3 million times. On the air for nearly 20 years. The most respected name in pro wrestling talk. The Pro Wrestling Report evolves again. Introducing the PWR Now Network. Get all the content from PWR in one place, on demand and on your devices. Watch and listen to Primetime, Feedback Friday, Be the Booker, and the return of the DD podcast. Also get the episodes of PWR Reaction after Raw and NXT. But it doesn't stop there. PWR is bringing you 2 huge new podcasts that can only be found on the PWR Now Network. For over 40 years, he's been the most recognized voice in the history of pro wrestling and the man with the stories that are too hot for TV. And now he's bringing that signature voice to the podcast world, along with some of the biggest names in the business. Welcome to the Hotline with Mean Gene Okerlund, debuting on the PWR Now Network in November. He is a former champion in WWE, ECW, and is currently one of the head agents for Impact Wrestling. Wait a minute. Did someone say head?
Does everybody want?
Welcome to Head with Al Snow, debuting on the PWR Now Network in November as well. All of this and more exclusively on the PWR Now Network. Subscribe now on iTunes, Google Play, and PWRshow.com. It's totally 100% free to subscribe. Welcome to the all-new PWR Now Network.
Atlanta, the WWE Survivor Series is coming to Phillips Arena on November 22nd, and PWR is having a pre-show party with WWE Hall of Famer Mean Gene Okerlund. Join us for a free meet and greet with Mean Gene. Great food, fun, and drinks will be served. Also, be part of the premiere episode of the live Mean Gene Hotline podcast coming to the PWR Network. Mean Gene Okerlund and the WWE Survivor Series invades Atlanta on November 22nd. Who will survive?
Welcome back, fans, to the Pro Wrestling Report, Primetime Saturday night. Davey and Nelson sitting alongside David Hero here on the eve of the Thanksgiving night tradition, which is now the Thanksgiving sort of weekend tradition, the Survivor
Series.
And we'll have Be the Booker for that coming up in just a few moments.
All this frickin' snow is screwing up travel.
It has been a snowy day here in the Milwaukee.
We need to get out of here first thing in the morning.
That is true.
Did you start shoveling? You get someone shoveling for us yet?
I'm on a private jet.
Why am I flying Southwest Coach?
Well, you could have, but you have so much luggage, and those little jets, the private ones, only hold so much. Why do you need to bring all that, all your gimmicks with you?
Because I need to train,
we're
say
there for
my
24
prayers,
hours,
and eat my vitamins.
You know, we're going to the Waffle House after Survivor Series.
Absolutely. We have to.
It is time, though, this week for this week's hot news, ladies and gentlemen, and sad news coming out over the weekend. A passing of a legend in professional wrestling and a WWE Hall of Famer, and a man who was very famous here in Milwaukee, Nick Bockwinkel, former AWA champion, passed away at the age of 80 after suffering from a very long illness. Nick Bockwinkel, who had relocated to Las Vegas, Nevada, again, passed away this past weekend. And we talked about this on this week's edition of the Double D podcast, David Hero, available on the PWR Now Network. Nick Bockwinkel, he's been in this studio. He's been on this show a couple of times.
He was fantastic.
And he is class personified. And I think you mentioned this, or maybe I did on the podcast, I'm sure, but no matter what, he was Ric Flair before Ric Flair was Ric Flair. And he did so on a different playing field, that in the AWA.
He was a great heel because he would cheat to win.
Always.
Which is a lost art form.
Yeah. And he did so elegantly.
Not only did he cheat to win, but he had Bobby the Brain Heenan with him. And those two guys could draw money.
Yeah.
They
did draw money.
They had amazing matches, amazing programs. Hulk Hogan, Nick Bockwinkel never lost to Hulk Hogan.
Mm-hmm.
Nick Bockwinkel is the Hulk Hogan never beat. I mean, and Nick Bockwinkel and Vern Gagne had amazing matches. Nick Bockwinkel and got Kurt Hennig on the main stage. And Bockwinkel, just so underrated and underappreciated because he was a lifetime AWA guy.
Yeah, and that's the question I'd like to ask. You've got Vern Gagne, Greg Gagne, and Nick Bockwinkel, and the Crusher, I think, are the people who are...
Well, you got Mad Dog Vachon. Let's not forget good old Mad Dog.
Yeah, very true. But when you think AWA, you think of those top names, those names associated with it. Mm-hmm. Bockwinkel is on that list very high.
Oh, yeah, he was a multi-time world champion.
7 years, I think, was his total span of his total reign as champion.
Yes.
Of course, our best wishes and prayers go out to the family of Nick Bockwinkel, who passed away at the age of 80 this past weekend. Just a little while ago, we talked about the TNA television situation. Well, Ring of Honor Television is also moving away from the Destination America network, and they'll be moving to the Comet network. And what that is actually an over-the-air network owned by the same station company that owns Ring of Honor Television right now. It's going to be Wednesday nights at midnight, I believe. David
Comet?
Hero. Comet.
Huh.
Not the stuff you clean your bathroom with. Or Haley's.
I don't do that.
You have a...
I have a service.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Huh. Does she actually clean?
Of course she does. She's fantastic.
Does she get the doorknobs and everything?
I'm never there when she does it, but I'm sure she does.
UFC had an event this past Saturday, David Hero. We don't necessarily talk about UFC much, but...
Yeah, why? Why are we talking about the fake fighting stuff?
This is the Professional Wrestling Report.
Yeah, Pro Wrestling Report.
Yes, so that's why we're talking about
UFC
the
MMA
controlled
report.
Situation with the premeditated outcome.
Okay. We'll talk about Ronda Rousey. Go ahead.
She lost. She didn't
did.
just lose. She got beat.
You know what? And I was in Maryville, Indiana.
Sorry about that.
Saturday night with
No offense
Al
to our
Snow,
viewers in Maryville.
watching that fight, and she wasn't fight ready. She wasn't in shape. She wasn't jacked. She didn't look like. I mean, she looked pissy, like she wanted to kill somebody, but physically, Ronda Rousey was not the Ronda Rousey that's been killing people.
Did you think or say that before the match or after the fight?
When she took her robe off. I was
Really?
like, whoop, that's not her. You know, she's too busy being Hollywood right now.
Really?
Oh, God, yeah.
You giving her the Rock treatment?
The Rock still showed up looking like he was going to fight.
Also, news coming out of WWE this week, one of the head trainers for NXT was released. Billy Gunn, a dear friend of this program, was released from his deal in NXT. And we know that he's been down there for quite a while, and unfortunately it was a situation outside of WWE that caused his firing from WWE at this time. So Billy Gunn no longer part of the
He'll be
NXT
back.
training group.
There's no question he'll be back. Right now he's getting slapped on the wrist for, he got busted for elevated testosterone levels for a powerlifting competition.
Outside of the E.
Yes.
Because IcoPro's done.
Of course
And
they
the
are.
World Bodybuilding
Yes,
Federation is done.
Thank goodness. But Billy Gunn is too talented to not be back. And, right now they have to set an example, because if the trainers are failing these tests, well, what does it say about the people they're teaching? And he's being made an example of.
Well, we'll keep you updated on that story if there are further developments. Also, it's been found out that at the next NXT TakeOver event, which is going to be in London, Finn Balor will defend his championship against his new foe, Samoa Joe. Should be an interesting match.
You know what? NXT is doing a great job of building up their stars in NXT for these programs, because they're all emotionally driven matches.
Absolutely.
Like, you wanted to see Sasha Banks and Bayley, and now you want to see Finn Balor get, his
Back
revenge on Samoa Joe. It's just well-written TV. But again, let's see how it transcends when those guys come to the main roster.
That is this week's hot news, ladies and gentlemen. And now it's time to find out what's coming up this week on the PWR Now Network.
This week on the PWR Now Network. Roll it. PWR Now is 100% free and available on iTunes, Google Play, and of course, PWRshow.com.
Hey, Dave. Dave, you never cease to amaze me. But to your credit, you've accepted my terms for Blizzard Brawl. Saturday, December 5th, first, a Monsters Ball. Anything goes. And second, you, Dave, putting it all on the line. When I beat you, you give up your stake in Great Lakes Championship Wrestling, and your stake in the business of professional wrestling is gone. I can't wait, Dave. On Saturday, December 5th at Blizzard Brawl, in front of your hometown, in front of your fans, in front of your family, and in front of your son, Cal, I am going to snatch it all from you. I can't wait, Dave. I can't wait. So, Dave, train hard, get some good rest, and I'll see you on Saturday, December 5th. And don't worry, I'll be bringing my biggest fan with me as well.
Well, yet another video from the Monster Abyss. And David, I've got to say this. I know that you think this is partially my fault in some way, shape, or form. And yes, I'll admit I caused Abyss to lose a match at Blizzard Brawl last year against Tommy Dreamer. But you have accepted the challenge. You're putting it all on the line. He is bringing Janice.
I was kidding earlier when I said Janice. I didn't think that was actually... I mean, why do you need Janice for a Monsters Ball match?
Anything goes in a Monsters Ball match.
I've been researching and watching his Monsters Ball matches. There are garbage cans and tables and chairs and thumbtacks.
I think there might have been a kitchen sink in one of them, to be honest with you.
And...
Well, the match will happen, as you said earlier in the program.
It will.
It's a Monster Ball match.
It's
if you lose,
Brawl.
you leave the wrestling business. It's not a loser leaves town. You're leaving the wrestling business if you lose that match with Abyss come 2 weeks in the Waukesha County Expo Center for Blizzard Brawl. He's serious about this.
Yeah,
at least that's evident by that last video.
I mean, when you dust off Janice, but I think about this way too much. There's other stuff. I mean, we have Melanie Cruz defending her ladies title against Katie Forbes.
Okay.
Katie Forbes is coming in from New Orleans. She is a young star.
New Orleans, Louisiana?
She is a young star on the horizon. She's going to be an amazing talent. We have the Boogeyman coming, Scotty Tuhati, the Headbangers, Armando
Special
Estrada,
appearances, I understand, by two
Booker T
stars.
and China are going to be there. We have Sadist against Rough Crossing. And, the main event is for the GLCW Championship. It is Al Snow defending against Tommy Dreamer.
Really?
Yeah. But
he's hardcore,
as much as you have enjoyed me being in my position about maybe having to replace me on this show,
just simply fulfilling an obligation.
I bumped into a guy, Mordecai, remember him? He also goes by the name Kevin Thorne. You're kind of familiar with him. I bumped into him, and he has a message for you as well. So,
what has he got to say to me?
Roll it.
It's been 5 years since Blizzard Brawl. 5 years since, Damien, you made an open challenge and I accepted. Remember, Damien? Remember the pain you felt as your drawers went up your crack? I'm coming back again to Blizzard Brawl, Damien. And this time I'm opening the challenge to you. Bring anybody you want. And we'll have a nice little wedgie on a pole match once again to find out who is the better wedgier. Hear me, fear me, and I'm gonna welcome you to the Bite Club.
Here's the thing, David.
Dude,
No. Here's the thing. You have put yourself in a position where you have put it on the line come Blizzard Brawl.
Yeah.
I have no reason to do the same said thing.
But he's letting you pick somebody to fight for you. At least you get that option.
He's going to try to put his hands on me. I have a no-touch clause in my contract.
Did you see how he played with that underwear?
And those weren't mine, by the way. I don't own a pair that looks like that.
How would he have
yours? Anybody who saw the match a couple of years ago would know that he destroyed a pair of my underwear.
You were hanging.
I was hung from the corner.
Be careful how you say that.
I was indeed.
We know this could be a bad.
He wants me to pick somebody.
This could be a bad night for both of us.
I can pick anybody I want.
Well, within real, who's ever going to be there, I guess.
All right.
Obviously you can't announce it until the night of the show because, I'm not
going to spoil it for anybody.
I got other guys already booked in matches.
Oh, no. I'm going to book my own guy. Bring him in.
Okay. And hey, Zach Gowan's going to be there, Eddie Mustafa, who I've been training with, Xavier Mustafa. Been training with him down at the Angel Armani School at MIAW University in South Milwaukee. So it's going to be Blizzard Brawl. This has potential to be the biggest Blizzard Brawl of all time.
It has potential to be the biggest, but it also has the unfortunate potential to be the final.
It could be the last.
If you lose
Can
to
you
Abyss,
imagine that?
you leave the business.
I would hate to end it at 11. The goal was always to hit 20.
Well, folks, Blizzard Brawl, we'll hear more about it in the event center coming up in just a little while. But before we do that, let's take a look at some of that training you've been doing with Xavier Mustafa down in South Milwaukee in preparation for your match with the Abyss.
Roll it.
Punch them and crank harder. Whoa. Crank harder, go down to a knee, Whoa! Keep that close. You're really like... Yes, you're gonna work your way up, Abyss. Put a hand on it, work your way up. Alright.
GLCW Blizzard Brawl invades the Waukesha County Expo Center on Saturday, December 5th. See the biggest stars in pro wrestling live and in person. Al Snow defends the GLCW Championship, and David Hero takes on TNA Star Abyss in a Monsters Ball match. Also appearing live are WWE Hall of Famer Booker T and the ninth wonder of the world, China. Blizzard Brawl 11 live at the Waukesha Expo Center on December 5th. Tickets are available now, starting at only $10 each at BlizzardBrawl.com.
Atlanta, the WWE Survivor Series is coming to Phillips Arena on November 22nd, and PWR is having a pre-show party with WWE Hall of Famer Mean Gene Okerlund. Join us for a free meet and greet with Mean Gene. Great food, fun, and drinks will be served. Also, be part of the premiere episode of the live Mean Gene Hotline podcast, coming to the PWR network. Mean Gene Okerlund and the WWE Survivor Series invades Atlanta on November 22nd. Who will survive?
Welcome to the PWR Event Center, brought to you by Gruber Law Offices. One call, that's all. Wednesday, November 25th at 8 p.m. is MIAW's huge Thanksgiving Eve show at Papa Luigi's at 1919 12th Avenue in South Milwaukee. ROH star Silas Young takes on Rough Crossing in the main event, and you can see sadist Xavier Mustafa and Angel Armani in action. Tickets start at only $10 and are available at the door. GLCW Blizzard Brawl 11 is on Saturday, December 5th at the Waukesha County Expo Center. It's official, one of the main events at Blizzard Brawl will be David Harrow taking on the Monster Abyss in a Monsters Ball match. If David loses the match, he must leave the wrestling business. It's all on the line, and the stakes could not be higher at Blizzard Brawl. And that's not all. WWE Hall of Famer Booker T has been signed to appear at Blizzard Brawl in Waukesha. This will be the first time ever for the 5-time world champion, and Booker will also be inducted into the PWR Hall of Fame that same night. Also, former WE star China will be making a special appearance at Blizzard Brawl, along with several other huge matches featuring Scotty 2 Hotty, Zach Gowen, and Armando Estrada. Get your tickets, which start at only $10 each right now at BlizzardBrawl.com. That's it for this week's Event Center, brought to you by Gruber Law Offices. The PWR Fantasy Draft continues tomorrow at Survivor Series, but points were scored last month at Hell in a Cell. The Super Friends continued their dominance over the Nelson family by scoring 250 to the 235 points scored by the family. In the running total, the Super Friends stays in the lead with 2,205 points to the 1,910 points of the Nelson family. We will see what tomorrow's Survivor Series brings for the teams when more fantasy points are scored. Speaking of Survivor Series, Be the Booker is coming up next on PrimeTime.
Watched on YouTube over 14 million times. Listened online over 3 million times. On the air for nearly 20 years. The most respected name in pro wrestling talk. The Pro Wrestling Report evolves again. Introducing the PWR Now Network. Get all the content from PWR in one place, on demand and on your devices. Watch and listen to PrimeTime, Feedback Friday, Be the Booker, and the return of the DD podcast. Also get the episodes of PWR Reaction after Raw and NXT. But it doesn't stop there. PWR is bringing you 2 huge new podcasts that can only be found on the PWR Now Network. For over 40 years, he's been the most recognized voice in the history of pro wrestling and the man with the stories that are too hot for TV. And now he's bringing that signature voice to the podcast world, along with some of the biggest names in the business. Welcome to the Hotline with Mean Gene Okerlund, debuting on the PWR Now Network in November. He is a former champion in WWE, ECW, and is currently one of the head agents for Impact Wrestling. Wait a minute. Did someone say head?
Everybody want?
Welcome to Head with Al Snow, debuting on the PWR Now Network in November as well. All of this and more exclusively on the PWR Now Network. Subscribe now on iTunes, Google Play, and PWRshow.com. It's totally 100% free to subscribe. Welcome to the all-new PWR Now Network.
Atlanta, the WWE Survivor Series is coming to Phillips Arena on November 22nd, and PWR is having a pre-show party with WWE Hall of Famer Mean Gene Okerlund. Join us for a free meet and greet with Mean Gene. Great food, fun, and drinks will be served. Also, be part of the premiere episode of the live Mean Gene Hotline podcast, coming to the PWR network. Mean Gene Okerlund and the WWE Survivor Series in Fades, Atlanta on November 22nd. Who will survive?
There you go. Okay, now your face, you want to show the people that you're figuring out how to get out of this. Right, you're showing pain. Then you have an idea how to reverse this, and you go for it.
Welcome back, folks, to the Pro Wrestling Report, primetime Saturday night. And as you just saw, yes, it indeed is time for Be the Booker. It's the fantasy booking segment for the Survivor Series tomorrow night on pay-per-view special event WWE Network.
You know, I've been a big fan of the Survivor Series. It's been good the last couple of years.
Survivor Series is it is a pay-per-view that goes back 29 years as of this year, and has a lot of historical moments attached to it. The screw job in '97, the tournament in '98.
The shenanigans in 2014.
WCW versus WWF in 2001.
Yes. And we're back at it again.
The debut of The Undertaker.
Who would have... When Taker first debuted, I'm like, this is kind of...
Was it because he was with Brother Love?
No, I'm like, he's a dead dude. I mean, come on, really? This isn't going to work.
Well, let's get right down to it, folks. Let's talk about it match by match. Firstly, for the Divas Championship, Charlotte defends against Paige.
This match is going to be a fight. It's going to be kind of like an MMA punch and kick and scratch and everything because...
Who's Ronda and who's Holly?
Well, here's why. Because Charlotte isn't going to want to wrestle Paige. She's going to want to beat her up.
Because she's ticked off?
She is pissed. And this match needs to be a fight. It cannot be arm drags and takedowns. It needs to be ground and pound and kick and punch and scratch and claw. With that being said, I would love, if I'm booking this, I want to see Paige beat Charlotte.
Paige win?
Yes. And here's why.
Okay.
Because then now it's more heat on Paige, more sympathy on Charlotte. So then Charlotte can now chase to try to get the revenge on Paige that not only ripped the scab, the wound off of her dead brother, but also the one that stole her title belt. If Charlotte goes and beats Paige after less than a week of the verbal assault, it's no good for anybody. They need to make money out of this angle.
Long term, Paige is your person.
Paige is the best diva on the roster. Everyone says it's Sasha Banks, and that's fine, but until Sasha has done it, Paige is still the one.
Who are we circling?
Oh, I'm going to underline because that's more permanent.
Sure it is, less ink. Of course it is.
Bro, we're living green.
Speaking of bros, it's the Brothers of Destruction going up against two of the members of the Wyatt family.
Can we be honest?
Kane and The Undertaker.
It's probably going to be Bray Wyatt and Braun Strowman.
Mm-hmm.
It should be.
At first.
It should be.
They could freebird this thing.
And Kane and Taker are so good together. They really are.
They're not too putrid.
No, they're not old. I mean, yeah, they're up there in age, but I mean, when they walk to the ring together, it's like two badasses.
Kane is legit again.
Oh, yeah, he's been.
This is what it took.
Yes.
This is what it took. Kane is legit
This was worth putting up with corporate Kane to get these two guys back together again. And listen, Taker is not going to lose on his anniversary show of the Brothers of Destruction.
All right.
I circled that for you, just so you know.
It's a tournament to determine the new WWE World Heavyweight Champion, and there are two matches that will result in a third and then result in a new champion being crowned. The first of those two matches will be Del Rio Alberto, the United States champion, versus Roman Reigns.
And this is going to be an interesting match because Del Rio and Reigns are very similar as far as size. You know, both have the pedigree to be great. Del Rio is a proven world champion. He's been a proven main eventer.
Let's not forget he's a fighter, too.
He is a fighter, and I know he can take Roman Reigns to that next level, which is what has to happen. And it's going to be a great match. It's going to be a lot of false finishes, but Roman Reigns is going to end up defeating ADR.
Be careful with that.
I'm not. No, because there's bigger things planned for Roman Reigns later tonight.
Well, the next matchup, Kevin Owens, the Intercontinental Champion, versus Dean Ambrose,
And
the Lunatic Fringe.
This match, these two guys know they're not main event. And they want to prove to the world that they can be. And they're going to go back to their Ring of Honor days, and they're going to pull out all the stops, and they're going to beat each other up and do crazy stuff. It will be great. And it's going to be very interesting, but you have to believe Dean Ambrose, because here's where the drama is. Here's where the heat is. When you have Reigns against Ambrose in the finals for the biggest prize in the company, everyone's going to wonder, how is this going to happen? How are these two brothers going to go to war with each other? And it will be. It will be a war. It will be two baby faces going back and forth, and the crowd will side with Ambrose in the beginning. But let me just say this. The only way Roman Reigns gets a legitimate title run is by beating Seth Rollins. It's not by beating Dean Ambrose. Because now it means less. Because he never got the victory over the guy that cost him the belt to begin with. With that being said, I cannot believe I'm going to say this at all, but Dean Ambrose is going to leave Survivor Series as the WWE World Champion with the help from the Authority.
Now, this is Survivor Series, but can we not have a screw job? Especially
it's not going to be. Well, I mean, it's the Survivor Series.
So you're anti-Reigns now too?
No, I want Roman Reigns.
Twitter has impacted you.
No, Roman Reigns should be the world champion. He should be. But unless he beats a Rollins or he beats a Brock Lesnar.
He won the tournament. He was the number one contender.
Beating Ambrose means nothing for him. Okay? He's the odds-on favorite. So he shouldn't win. Because the money will be in him saying, really? You cheated me also?
It's a great story that would be told. You've got two former Shield members fighting for the championship vacated by another Shield member. Mm-hmm. But the fans are going to be behind Roman Reigns. And you got to assume
be behind Ambrose.
The fans are going to be behind, in the arena, are going to be behind Roman Reigns.
Okay, we'll be there. We'll see.
The internet will be behind Dean Ambrose.
It's going to be a love-hate. You know?
What has Ambrose done lately to be put in this position? Or is it the silent factor that makes him more viable for this position?
Who is the only guy that Triple H didn't offer a spot in the Authority to?
He couldn't find him. He was out being a lunatic somewhere.
Who is the only guy?
Ambrose.
There you have it. He talked to everybody else in the tournament.
You're saying Dean Ambrose is WWE World Heavyweight Championship material. That's what you said with that circle right there.
I'm saying if I'm writing this show, that's how I do it. Do I agree with it? No. But for the interest in creating heat and emotion and wants and needs and desires and to draw money, the money is Reigns chasing Ambrose. Who else is going to chase Reigns? Nobody. It's all undercard guys.
Undercard?
They are.
Midcard?
Well, undercard, okay, midcard, undercard guys, yes.
Should there be a 5-on-5, and if so?
No, there will be. They haven't announced it yet.
Is that how we get the New Day involved in this pay-per-view?
Oh, absolutely. Yes. New Day, if they are not on Survivor Series, then we should all riot.
Let's go over it again, folks. Survivor Series, if he were booking it tomorrow on pay-per-view, Paige would defeat Charlotte, become the new Divas champion. The Brothers of Destruction would defeat the Wyatts, even though the Wyatts have nothing but shenanigans planned, I'm sure. And then the championship tournament, Roman Reigns gets a win over Alberto Del Rio. Dean Ambrose, I almost said Ambrosia, the chocolate store. And Dean Ambrose beats Kevin Owens, and Roman Reigns loses.
Wasn't Ambrosia the whole Jeffrey Dahmer gimmick?
Yes, it was.
So you had Jeffrey Dahmer on your mind?
No, I did not. Ambrose. You don't look at that and see Ambrosia, perhaps,
not
if you
at all.
went to school across from it and smelled its chocolate for years?
No.
Little do we know what else was in that chocolate.
Nuts.
Ambrose gets a win and walks out the WWE champion, folks. That is what he would say would happen. They were omens, by the way. At Survivor Series tomorrow. We will be there live, folks. And just before the event, 3 to 5 p.m. at Hard Rock Cafe in the ATL in Atlanta, just steps away from Phillips Arena. You can come on down, spend some time with Mean Gene Okerlund. We're We're going to be recording the very first edition of the Mean Gene Okerlund podcast, Hotline with Mean
I
Gene
cannot
Okerlund.
wait for that.
Coming up this
Final
weekend as well. The final.
Never once.
And we're going to take a brief time out, learn a little bit more about Blizzard Brawl. When we come back, it's DWHS.
GLCW Blizzard Brawl invades the Waukesha County Expo Center on Saturday, December 5th. See the biggest stars in pro wrestling live and in person. El Snow defends the GLCW Championship, and David Hero takes on TNA star Abyss in a Monsters Ball match. Also appearing live are WWE Hall of Famer Booker T and the ninth wonder of the world, China. Blizzard Brawl 11, live at the Waukesha Expo Center on December 5th. Tickets are available now, starting at only $10 each at BlizzardBrawl.com.
2 weeks from tonight, I'll be involved in an all-or-nothing Monsters Ball war with the TNA villain and monster Abyss. For the last 19 years, I've been promoting Great Lakes Championship Wrestling and working with the Pro Wrestling Report, living out childhood dreams. Saturday night, December 5th at the Waukesha Expo. If I lose, I must leave GLCW and PWR. To say I am nervous about this no-holds-barred and no-DQ match would be an understatement. And it's something I never thought would come to light. Over the last 10 months, Abyss has beaten up my buddy Damian Nelson, put his hands on and threatened my 13-year-old son Cal, and has yet to have any consequences. At Blizzard Brawl 11, I will fight this man, and I will punch and kick and punch some more. If the match does not go my way, and I do indeed lose, and I have to leave this business that I've spent the last 19 years making a living in, I want to take this time now to thank everyone that has supported me, my family, my super friends, the fans that have bought tickets to GLCW, the fans that have come to Hero Sports Page events, the ones that have listened to me on the radio, and of course, all of you that watch this show. You have all been an amazing experience, and I thank each and every one of you for your unconditional love and support. And God willing, I'll be back. And if not, David Hero has spoken.